If you do not see your enemy coming towards you or know his tactics, odds are you will suffer loss, pain, or even death. Hello, brothers and sisters. My name is Benjamin Francis, and I would like to share with you the understanding I have concerning an end-time enemy of ours known as the Abomination of Desolation. The Abomination of Desolation was first spoken of by Christ Jesus in Matthew 24:15 and Mark 13:14. And I'd like to read those verses to you and add one verse to each chapter. In Matthew's, I'd like to add verse 14, and in Mark, I'd like to add verse 10. Here's Matthew's. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. When you therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet, standing in the holy place, whoso readeth, let him understand. That was Matthew's. Mark 13:10. And the gospel must first be preached among all nations, 14. But when you shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet, standing where it ought not, let him that readeth understand. There are 3 points that I would like for you to hold on to. And the first one is, the abomination of desolation is a singular thing. There's no abominations of desolations. It's just one thing, abomination of desolation, no secondary, no primary. The second thing is, the holy place does not necessarily mean the temple in Jerusalem, as I will show you later in the video. The third thing is, it says, whoso readeth, let him understand. In the 7 letters to the churches in Revelations, Jesus said, he that have ear, let him hear what the Spirit says. You're supposed to be getting a spiritual understanding of what is being said here. So push everything else back that's in your environment right now. Ask God to give you understanding, and let's move forward so that you will get the same understanding that I have concerning the abomination of desolation. Now, before I show you the picture of what I believe it to be, I want to first go over what theologians of today said, the 3 things that the theologians of today say that it is, and why I disagree with all 3 of them. The first thing is, the theologians say, a small minority of theologians say that it is a thing of the past. The theologians that believe this to be a thing of the past say this because of Antiochus in 165 BC came and conquered Israel. And when he conquered them, he set up a statue in the temple, had animal sacrifice, forced the children of Israel to eat pork, and stopped their worship. The theologians, those same theologians, also believe it to be a thing of the past because in 70 A.D., Titus came with the Romans and conquered the Israelites, and he destroyed the temple, ending Jewish worship of God in the temple. So those are the 2 events that mainly support the theory that the abomination of desolation is a thing of the past. And then another minority of theologians believe it to be a thing of the present. They get this theory from the statue of St. Peter that is set up in Italy. This statue was set up around 1500 AD, somewhere within that time frame. And it is said that the statue of Peter was cast from the same statue that Antiochus set up in 165 BC. I don't know how true it is. I just thought I'd bring it up. And then another rationale they use to say that the abomination of desolation is the thing of the present is the Dome of the Rock set up on the Temple Mount in Israel right now. The Dome of the Rock was established around the late 600 AD or the early 700 ADs. Now, I believe that both of these theories, the abomination being a thing of the past or the thing of the present, according to the events that I just explained to you, are faulty simply because of the verses that we just covered, Matthew 24:14 and Mark 13:10. Both of these say that in both of these verses, Jesus said that the gospel will be preached to all nations. And as creator, he knew of our day. He knew of the invent of the radio. He knew of the invent of the internet. And he knew that this would be the time that the gospel would just start reaching all the world. So it couldn't be a thing of the past. Even in the same scriptures that he's saying when he refers us to Daniel, you know, in the book of Daniel, you have the Libyans, the Egyptians, the Ethiopians, the Persians, the Medes, the Chaldeans. So Those nations weren't evangelized around 70 AD. They weren't even evangelized around 1700 AD. So it being a thing of the past or the thing of the present, according to those events, I found to be faulty. And then there's the most accepted belief that it is a thing of the future. This understanding mainly comes from the highly accepted interpretation of Daniel 11:31 and Daniel 12:11. And both of those read, an arm shall stand on his part, and they shall pollute the sanctuary of strength, and shall take away the daily sacrifice, and they shall place the abomination that maketh desolation. Chapter 12, verse 11, and from the time the daily sacrifice shall be taken away, and the abomination that maketh desolation set up, shall be 1,290 days. However, when Christ Jesus said these words, he was not talking about the Bible version, because the Bible wasn't even written then. He was talking about the Torah. And so I Googled the Torah, and this is what it said. The Torah in English, and this is what the Torah in English says. And arms from him will stand, and they will profane the sanctuary, even the stronghold, and they will remove the daily sacrifice and place the silent abomination. Daniel 12:11, and from the time the daily sacrifice was removed and the silent abomination placed, it shall be 1,290 days. So some Torah translations say the detestable thing that causes appallment, but none say the abomination that maketh desolation. Theologians that believe the abomination of desolation to be a thing of the future authorize this change to certify their belief, while distorting the spiritual understanding that you were commanded to get in Matthew 24:15. Theologians knew that if one following the words of Christ came across a verse in Daniel that had abomination and desolation written in it, that word recognition would cause a belief in their theology and explanation of what the abomination of desolation is. Now, it is with that same word recognition that I wish to show you something. But before I show it to you, I want to go over 2 chapters in the Bible. And the first one that I want to go over is Daniel chapter 7, verses 2 through 7. And it reads, Daniel spoke and said, I saw in a night vision. Daniel spoke and said, I saw in my vision by night, and behold, the 4 winds of the heavens drove upon the great sea, and 4 great beasts came up from the sea, diverse one from another. The first was like a lion, and had eagle's wings. I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth, and made to stand upon the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given to it. And behold, another beast, a second like a bear, and it raised up itself on one side, and had 3 ribs in the mouth of it, between the teeth of it. And they said thus unto it, Arise, devour much flesh. After this I beheld, and lo, another like a leopard, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl. The beast had also 4 heads, and dominion was given it. After this I saw in the night vision, and behold, a 4th beast, dreadful and terrible, and strong exceedingly, and it had great teeth, great iron teeth. It devoured and brake in pieces, and stomped the residue with its feet, with the feet of it. And it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns. Now that's the beast spoken of in Daniel, and it is believed that the beast spoken of in Daniel is this same beast that is written here in Revelations 13. And I stood upon the sea and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads, 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power, and his seat, and great authority. And I saw one of his head as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed. And all the world wondered after the beast. And they worshiped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast. And they worshiped the beast, saying, Who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him? And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemy, and power was given unto him to continue 42 months. And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle and them that dwell in heaven. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints and to overcome them. And power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, those whose names are not written in the book of life those whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. If any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. So here we have a complete description of both both these beasts. The beast that's in Daniel's chapter 7 and the beast that's here in Revelations 13. So if you agree that both these are the same beast, then here is what I want you to understand. The beast is only called the beast because man, theologians of the past, never knew what to call it. But if you look at its complete description, you see that its name is in the beginning and the end of its description. In the beginning, it says, upon his heads, the names of blasphemy. Now, I don't know what those names may be. They might be God of God, creator of gods. Whatever is written makes that beast an abomination. So the description, Revelations 13:1, the description starts with abomination. Now, in God's displeasure with the children of Israel, he sent a prophet named Jeremiah to tell them of their coming desolation and destruction. And when he referred to the desolation of Judea in Jeremiah 14:12, God said, I will consume them by the sword and by the famine and by the pestilence. In Jeremiah 15:2, God said, such as are for death to death, such as are for the sword to the sword, such as are for famine to famine, such as are for captivity to captivity. God uses these examples a few more times in Ezekiel and in Jeremiah, but these are the examples of God's signs of desolation. And as you see in verse 10, it says, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. That's a sign of desolation. So you see that the description of the beast here in Revelation 13 starts with an abomination and it ends with a desolation. So you add them together and there you have it, the abomination of desolation. Well, I see that I've come up on like 13 minutes on this video, and I don't want to keep you long. So I'm going to make another video. And in the next video, I'm going to share with you what the meaning of each beast is, what was really spoken of by Daniel concerning the abomination of desolation, and how it is working today in your life and around the world. So until my next video, I would ask that you stay tuned and bear with me, because I will explain it more in depth in the next video. And please keep all your comments concerning what I'm talking about here in this text. Don't go off into the book of Revelations and ask me no questions about the 7 signs, the 7 seals, or the whore of Babylon, or any of that, man. Let's just stay with what I covered here, because somewhere somebody is has been sitting back wondering about the abomination of desolation, and maybe this video will start to clear it up for them. So keep your comments, relevant to this video, and please watch out for my next video.